Architect Orna Tubridy and her husband engineer Diarmuid Corry redeveloped their house in Dublin into an accessible family home.
We were living in the States for 14 years, just came back last year. We had to get this place refurbished.
With Diarmuid being in a wheelchair, it poses different challenges to what you'd normally have. I think it elevates the design and you really work harder to integrate it into a home. We put in 2 small extensions on either side, creating a 3-sided courtyard, which brought the garden back into the house. It's a real oasis, it's a real little sanctuary. The doors all open out to the garden and there's level access at every doorway. So we dropped the island counter to table height and we've electric curtains, electric blinds. The ovens have been dropped down. Yeah, and all storage is down below the counter, you know, plates.
Except the chocolates. She keeps the chocolates at the very top cupboard. This is my favourite spot. It's my office. Not everybody would consider their office their favourite spot, but for me, it's all about the view that's in front of me. When I'm sitting here, I'm not aware that I'm in the middle of a city. It feels like some sort of Mediterranean courtyard, and I really love spending time here.
It is quite a unique house.
So far, best place that I've lived in my life.
We love it. It's a very happy place.
Wow, such a long home. It's really linear. And it's sort of a modernist building, but looks like a converted warehouse to me.
That's probably because of the glass block that they've used to create an element of privacy to the home.
I recognise it from the architecture awards. I've never been in, but I'd love to see what the insides are like.
Afternoon.
It's got quite a 70s vibe, I would say. Slow curves from that period.
It's a home of 2 types of architecture here. You've got the original architecture and the new architecture, and you can see that by the alterations that have taken place. They've put in an obscured brick glass detail, which allows the light in, but gives you privacy from the house next door.
Should we go?
Ooh, what a great space. Fantastic light level in here. That skylight really brings in so much light. They've introduced the birch ply that was in the entrance hall in the new elements here as well. And I've just realised there's a recessed element here in the counter, and I think we're in a home with a person who is in a wheelchair.
That birch ply tells me everything here is bespoke. It's not a system, it's not something that's just been put here, a kit of parts.
Lovely to see, you know, the plywood veneers have been matched. What that does, it changes this kitchen from being ordinary to being sophisticated. We have a fascinating detail here, which is like a light well, you know, going up. Again, bringing that southerly light back into this room.
These huge concertina glass doors really let the space flow to the outside, and do you want a chance opening it up? Look at that.
It's fabulous. You know, you really get a sense now that the kitchen, dining and outdoor become really part of this internal space.
We have curves, we have angles, nothing straight in this room at all. We still have that roof light grabbing that southerly light in here. Small bit of the extension that we've seen elsewhere in the home, and what that's going to do is grab that westerly light in here.
Feels like a kind of a retreat room or an evening room. One thing I have noticed quite strongly now at this point is there's a great flow to this house. They understand how people need to move and have accommodated that. It works very, very well. This curved back wall of the house is a very strong feature, isn't it? And this recessed handle detail, which I'd imagine is here since the original home, and then steps. So I would imagine that we had steps here originally and that this ramp is actually a new insertion into the home for the homeowner.
I think we're into an extension on the original home and the owner's favourite spot. And what a beautiful room, you know, to be able to sit here and look back at that private garden and that lovely natural salvaged oak floor. This is just a real treat, isn't it?
There's this beautiful detail of these rails and infill planks, and it's just amazing. What I really like about this home, though, in general, is that whilst it's been adapted for a wheelchair user, everything has been integrated.
Absolutely. It's for the entire family, this home. Ooh, master bedroom. Lovely bright room. Similar detailing that we've seen in the other parts of the house is in here, and very bespoke area around the bed with those hanging pendant lights.
Overall, there isn't the simplicity that we saw in the rest of the house. There's an introduction of quite a number of materials, the slatted timber.
I think the ribbed detail that they've gone for was inspired by the bulkhead detail that runs around this room. It's a very nice detail in itself, but with the zigzagged patterned duvet cover, it all gets quite busy in here.
I agree.
This bright single-storey home has been cleverly adjusted to suit the needs of a wheelchair user in this family. Overall, this is a very functional, well-designed, accessible home, and I'm going to give it an 8.
The consistent design style with the use of built-in furniture in birch ply gives this home a warm and sophisticated feel. This is a fabulous and inspiring home. I'm giving it an 8.
This house has benefited from the designers having to reconsider many elements of a home that would generally be taken for granted.
Now that the judges have visited all 3 homes, it's time to see how they measure up against each other. First, Deirdre reveals her score for the converted church in Limerick.
I thought it was a great home with that dining room, which was full of humour. I love the humour in there. I love this home as well for its originality and personality that was just all over this place, and I gave it a 9.
Well done.
So 2 9s and a 10. That gives us 28.
Hugh tells us his score for the period home in Kilkenny.
I love coming up the avenue to this home, magnificently presented, nice colour scheme throughout, but for me, it was over-stylized, more like a painting than reality. So I would love to have seen that stripped back. For that reason, I give it an 8.
So 2 8s and a 9, that gives us 25. Great score for that home.
And finally, Peter tells us his score for the architectural home in Dublin.
I think they did a great job of retaining the original design intent whilst modifying this home for their own specific needs. I think the kitchen was the absolute excellent element in that home. I also scored this home an 8.
So 3 8s is 24. I think we have our winner.
I'm delighted this home was in the final because I felt like you could bottle the creativity in that home.
The church in Limerick is the home through to the final. Next week, the search continues for home.